My name is Catherine Robinson. I was born in 1988 in a small town in England where I lived with my parents until going to Manchester University. I went in 2009 and I've been studying history. On the morning of 9th of December, I went to London to protest against the government's plans to scrap funding for EMA and to increase tuition fees. I'm a student, not an anarchist, not a terrorist, communist or socialist. I went there to fight for mine and many others' future. As we left the coach, none of us could anticipate the violence and chaos that awaited us, and I was relieved when we started to walk towards Parliament Square. Unlike the thousands of foreigners that fill the roads of London every day, we weren't in London for tourism. We weren't in London to look at Buckingham Palace, watch the changing of the guards, and simply visit London. We had other plans. We were there for a very different reason, and we wasted no time in starting our walk towards Parliament Square. The first minutes in London were perfect. There were no issues, and it seemed like a normal day, both tourists and the general public going about their business, busy traffic, people everywhere. But then as we got close to Parliament Square, things started to change. A few minutes away from Trafalgar Square, we met other groups of students and protesters from other universities and cities. I was amazed to see vast numbers of people. It wasn't difficult to know that they were going to the same place as us, as some were carrying banners and all seemed very, very determined. Trafalgar Square was crowded. The majority of people there were tourists experiencing London, and they were hanging out round by the statues, taking pictures of the fountains. And although it wasn't a Saturday, there were people everywhere. All seemed normal. But minutes before we crossed the square, lots of police cars went flying by. And then I realised that things weren't as smooth as they seemed. And as we crossed Trafalgar Square, I looked round and saw lots of police officers blocking the entrance of Downing Street. I became a bit apprehensive. This is getting serious, I thought. It was 3:30 in the afternoon when we finally arrived at Parliament Square. The atmosphere there was phenomenal. Thousands of protesters. It was at this stage that I realised our group was really small, and some of the students that had started the journey with us were not in the middle of the crowds, and that it was just a matter of time until we were all split up.